Smart Scouting with SkillCorner, episode 4. Today we are focusing on wingers. We are actually looking at two specific type of wingers. The inverted one, who comes inside, is able to play in crowded areas and able to serve teammates in dangerous position, and the wide winger, who's direct and fast. So, as always, to build and fight these profiles, we are actually looking at several elements. The technical one, the physical and tactical ones, including top sustainable velocity and off-ball movement, and of course, contextual information, which enriches our picture and allow us to understand important details. One of those details is to actually, again, understand how these players and players overall interact with the defending lines. So, for example, the inverted winger is actually positioning inside the opposition defensive shape, offering options to break the line through the line itself, while the wide winger, for example, is obviously positioning in the external channel, so progression will happen around the defending line. Thanks to SkillCorner matrix, we can obviously understand which lines we are interacted with, being the first line of pressure, the second last line of pressure, usually midfielders, and then the last line of pressure, which is usually built by defense. So now let's go and build the specific profiles. So the wide winger, as we said, is fast, direct, is able to carry the ball at pace and stretch defenses through off-ball running, both in behind and out of play, and obviously is attempting to serve a lot of crosses to his teammates in dangerous positions. Metrics here to actually measure all of this behavior could be PSV99, so top sustainable velocity, carries at speed, runs out of the ball and in behind, and of course, pass attempts to cross receiver runs. On the other end, the inverted winger is quite different. He's a creative player who operates between the lines, offering options through the opposition midfield. This is different, as we said, for example, for what we have seen with the number 6, who was playing between the first line of pressure and the midfield pressing. This guy, on the other hand, is more focused on staying between the midfield and the defense of the opposition. So he's comfortable in receiving in those crowded areas, turning forward to face the goal and initiate progressive action. He links up play in the final third and finds runners in behind with key passes. So again, we have metrics to track and check all of these football-specific behaviors, and they could be the following. So options through second last line, receptions in tight spaces, forward momentum, which again allow us to understand how a player is able to receive the ball from the back or from sideways, pivot on the first control and face the opposition goal to make a progressive action. Possessions and finish, really specific phase of game, and pass attempts to runs in behind. Now let's go in SkillCorner's web app lab and check on the profiles and the resulting players. We are in SkillCorner's web app lab player scouting section, 24-25 season and the Big 5 League as a sample. We are actually going for the data table, the first scouting tool that we haven't touched upon yet, selecting the left and right wide attackers as a position, all the teams, age bracket, white wide. If you go down here, you actually enter the metric selection panel. We have 8 areas belonging to our physical and game intelligence suite. And what we are doing here is actually selecting what are the most important metric for us and looking for players who rank high in those metrics. So for example, if we go in physical, as we said, peak sustainable velocity is really important for us. So we are looking at players who rank above the 70th percentile in this specific metric. The reasoning is the same for all the other metrics that we use to build our profile. So for example, off-ball running, we go for runs out of the ball and runs in behind. Pass types is cross receiver runs, so pass attempts to those kind of runs. Possessions, we go there for carries at speed. So the result here is a table where you can actually check all the information about the players who do well in this matrix. And we have, for example, Garnacho, Anthony Gordo, Elanga, and other players that are actually direct, fast wingers, operating mostly on the wide channels. And what you can do if you scroll down is just check on all the different metrics that we have in the SkillCorner web app lab, and that might be really interesting for your scouting process. Episode 4 is coming to an end, so short recap as always to see what we have just done together. We have been able to filter down hundreds of wingers based on specific characteristics that we have defined and are relevant to your game model or to your scouting and recruitment processes. Completely no code, in a few clicks in our web app lab, and of course, touching upon different elements: tactical, technical, physical, and contextual. So thanks again, and I hope to see you in the 5th and last episode of our Smarter Scouting with SkillCorner series.